Are you ready to be in the room where it happens? Next spring, your shot at an unforgettable New York City experience is here. Imagine 4 incredible nights in the heart of Times Square, exploring iconic landmarks from Greenwich Village to Wall Street. Picture yourself gazing up at Lady Liberty and reflecting at the powerful 9/11 memorial. But that's not all. This isn't just any trip. It's your chance to witness the revolutionary energy of 2 Broadway shows, including the one you've been waiting for, Hamilton. We're taking care of everything. Round-trip flights from Dallas or your closest airport, comfortable hotel transfers, 5 delicious meals, and easy transportation throughout the city are all included. Don't throw away your shot. Visit TravelBugGirls.com to book your Broadway dream trip today. That's TravelBugGirls.com. Be a part of history. Experience New York City and the magic of Hamilton. Welcome to the Travel Bug Girls podcast, the show where we dive into the world of travel, exploring everything from expert tips and insider secrets to unforgettable destinations and the latest trends. Whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or planning your very first adventure, we've got you covered with the advice and inspiration you need to make your travels truly unforgettable. So sit back, relax, and let's take your travel planning to the next level. Welcome to part 2 of Wonder Well, our episode on health and safety when traveling.
So if I'm taking a group to Paris for the first time, then I plan out their day and I make sure they see all the top sites day one. We're going to just do a quick run. You're going to go to a bakery and get a pastry immediately so that you feel happier because you just spent 8 hours traveling. Pastries will fix it. Then we're going to go see the Eiffel Tower and take pictures. We're going to go in front of the Louvre. Now, we may not go in. We may not go and do the whole long tour. We're going to do like a general view of the city so that we keep moving, so you stay interested. It's all new and interesting that first day. So that you, because you're going to be so tired and want to go to bed. And if I can keep you moving and keep you interested and keep you fed, then usually I can keep you up till at least 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And in France, it's harder to, you can't get dinner before 6 o'clock. So I've got to keep you up till 7, really, bottom line. And then I say, go to bed immediately, sleep all night, sleep long, and we're not going to do anything till tomorrow until 8. And then usually everybody's fine. And we go from there. And we almost, so far, I've not had anybody have issues. The problem is when everybody gets there and they're already tired and they check into their hotel and they want to immediately lay down and then you don't want to get up. Yeah. And now you're off kind of perpetually. It's hard to get on track. So that's my those are the rules Heather runs by when she's in here.
I would be interested on how people get kids in with that large a time difference. We went to California last year and, I'll just say, and I've told my family, it's probably one of the most relaxing vacations we ever had because I am a 7 a.m. Disney rope drop. We're up at 6 eating breakfast, pregame, like the whole 9 yards. Well, in California where we were behind on time, everybody woke up of their own fruition and we was just kind of sitting around hanging out like, the park should be opening in about an hour. We'll just start making our way that way. So it was very restful vacation. So I would say if that's the type of, vacation that you're looking for, that was fantastic. But, my kids, they're both very different on their sleep needs. And, the smallest one, he has a sleep debt that can't be paid off. Like the oldest one, if he takes a 30-minute nap with his eyes closed, he can stay awake up for 2 days, like totally fine. The baby, like if he misses an hour or 2 of sleep, he's going to need to catch up on that. So tomorrow, instead of sleeping 8 hours, he's going to need to sleep 10, or his grouchiness level is going to increase. So this is some of the reason we haven't traveled abroad yet, because I feel like as they get older, they are a little more tolerable. You can say, please try to sleep on the plane, and they can attempt to do that. We try to book early flights. That way we're flying during the time that they would be sleeping normally. That has worked for us these past few times. They have, we've boarded the plane, they went to sleep, they've slept the whole time. So we haven't had to, play that we got to entertain and have 87,000 snacks and switch seats 100 times and go see the bathroom 26 times and do all that. And I would feel like if I was wanting to travel abroad, I would want like a longer nighttime flight. So as maybe they might sleep and then get up to be, sort of normal. But that's super interesting, Heather, because I couldn't imagine. Mine would be caffeine and prayers. That's how I would deal with
well,
it.
We should definitely jump into that in the children's episode, because I do have some tricks for you. And the good news is every flight from the US is going to be a long nighttime flight. So you're already starting out in the best way possible. And then the trick then is to get them to sleep on the plane. And then how you arrange your day on those first couple of days so that you have an opportunity for them to sleep while everyone else is awake is really going to be the next trick. But we can talk about that more in our children's episode, because I think it's really important and it makes a huge difference in everyone's enjoyment.
So let's move on to more of like a safety and security aspect of it. So let's start with like protecting your belongings as you travel. Like, what's your number one? My number one thing is keep your like important papers like on your body, crossbody, under your clothes, like on your person. That's my first one. So what else do you guys have as far as like keeping your belongings safe?
I have a specific style of bag I carry when I'm traveling. There's a lot of content out there. I'm sure every woman has seen, especially if you're looking at traveling Europe, you've seen this content about how people will pickpocket, how, it's going to be in crowded spaces, tourist spaces, particularly. You're very targeted and they've practiced and perfected it. So like fighting back against that's almost impossible, it feels like, from a tourist perspective. The other thing is walking down the street, they will cut the straps of your purse, or even like a backpack. If you're carrying it on one shoulder, they can cut so that they can run with it faster. So just having your hand on it is not necessarily enough. That's a good start, but it's not really enough. So having the right kind of material that it's made out of, especially those straps. So I carry a crossbody that's very small and is a thick leather strap. And nothing's perfect. Nothing's foolproof. Okay. If somebody's determined to rob you, then there's going to be a way to do it. But that so far has worked for me, and I have felt safer doing that. And also that it doesn't have like big zipper or snap pockets. It's got a flap that goes over completely, and then like a tiny zipper on the backside that's against my skin. So I can put something there and no one could easily grab that. They would literally have to be wrestling it away from me to get to that part of it. And then the only trick is if I'm looking for something, I have to be careful, but it's harder for people to see into it. It's harder for them to grab into it. You definitely can't just like sneak from the side because of the way it's designed. So, and I'll put pictures. We can do like pictures with the post for this one so that people can see what I'm talking about. But the design of your bag, it seems like a small thing, but it's not. Like when it comes to being in high traffic areas that are known for pickpocketing, it's really important. And a lot of places will have signs. They'll warn you. Paris is really good about this. There are certain areas where they'll say, hey, warning, this is a high pickpocket area and they are targeting tourists, so please be careful. So the trick there is to stick to yourself. Don't make a lot of conversation with people that are walking up all friendly suddenly, especially if they're with a group. One person's going to be talking to you while the other person's scoping for an opportunity to steal from you. And it's super common in certain areas. It's not everywhere, but it's like there are certain places that are just known for it. And if you can be aware and protect yourself and plan ahead, don't let your group get separated, that kind of thing. If you're a woman traveling alone, be smart about how you approach those areas. Maybe take a step back and kind of observe the scene before you go in. And this is where working with someone who's been to specific places that you're traveling helps so much. Obviously, even among the four of us, we haven't been to the whole planet. And as much as we all would have liked to be able to say we haven't yet been everywhere. But, you know, Kara has had extensive travel in Europe. Cassie's done a ton in Disney. You know, Kimmy is a beach girl. We all have our own places where we could tell you definitively, like, this is the best practice. And this is what I would recommend. And this is how I always act in this space. And this is where I would avoid at all costs. And I think that's a big thing. Another thing that I think is really helpful is to remember crossing a town you're not familiar with is where you're most likely to end up really in a dangerous situation. So like the stories that I have heard where somebody really got hurt in Europe in particular were almost always because they decided to walk a very long distance across the city thinking, I'll just walk it. I'll be able to see so much on the way. And they aren't realizing, like, just imagine trying to see all the sights of New York by walking. Okay, first of all, that's ridiculous. Like it's bigger than you think it is. And that happens everywhere. Every city's like that. Like on the map, it can look so small and it's really not. It's really, really, really not. And here you're in a safe district with lots of people. You go 2 blocks over, you might be in a dark alley alone, right?
Yes.
You do not understand the dynamics around you, especially these really large cities across the world all have this in common, that they're full of people from every part of the world living there. And some people are living there in desperate situations. And desperate people can put you in a dangerous situation. And so, and I say that with all the love in the world. Okay. But like, this is just reality for us, especially as women traveling, that we need to keep in mind that if we can stay close to the center of activity, we're more likely to be safe. Like the real issue there is pickpocketing. Let's just be real, how that's way less dangerous than being like attacked in an alley somewhere, right? So a person who's like, oh, I'm just going to cross, look, it's faster on the map to go this way through the dark neighborhood by myself. Like faster is not always better. So this is where it really helps to know the best ways to go somewhere. Take public transportation. If you're from the country, public transportation can seem scary all by itself. But the reality is it's public. You're actually safer in public transportation than walking through neighborhoods you're unfamiliar with. Yeah. So get on the subway, girl. Be brave. Have an adventure. Okay. And hold that bag tightly. and then you're going to end up in a safer situation overall than if you just take off across town. Yeah. Trying to wing it.
And now the map on your phone, you can select transit. So if you're afraid of reading transit maps, which can be intimidating and very different in varying cities, that'll give you options of which public transit route to take. Sometimes it even tells you how much it's going to cost and changes, and you'll have to pay attention because there's sometimes like a walk from not a terminal, but from a platform to something, but it'll save you a lot of stress.
And a lot of times it'll even say like a 3-minute walk, go this direction, then turn at this place and stand at this corner and take the bus 2012. Yeah. And it will, so it's very helpful. Google Maps, Apple Maps have gotten so much better at those things. It's really life-saving. I mean, probably life-saving.
I was just going to say, don't put anything in your back pockets. Don't ever put anything in your back pockets. Just like
and to go with that, don't take anything you would not care to lose.
Yes.
Don't take, as a woman, things that are going to draw attention to you. If you have a nice wedding set, leave it at home. Like, I know you love your husband, buy a $5 ring from Claire's that you wouldn't, or one of those rubber bands or something. If you want, a ring on your finger, don't take grandma's studs that is your favorite earrings that you want to wear to dinner. Don't take anything like that you would be afraid to lose.
I think something too that's debated a lot, and I think it's more debated now because it's changed over the years, is there used to be a lot of fear about carrying your passport because your passport could be stolen, right? Okay, now I'm going to say definitively, officially, from the Travel Bug Girls standpoint, carry your passport. Do not leave that in your hotel room. Do not leave that in your suitcase somewhere. Do not think that a photocopy is the same as a government document when you're in a foreign country. So that is an old way of thinking. There used to be a ton of fear, and I blame 80s movies where people are like making up fake passports and stuff. And anyway, like that's an old way of thinking. Nowadays, if you are in Paris and your passport does get stolen, let's just say they do, somebody steals your passport, you go to the embassy and they give you a new one. They don't want you trapped there either. They want you to go home. So it's not as terrible as it used to be. And not that I don't know that it ever was all that terrible, but for some reason we've got this idea that like your life's over if your passport gets stolen, and that's just not reality at all. Go to the embassy and get a new one. The end. Okay. But the other thing is that in many countries, it is law that a foreigner who is traveling in their country is expected to have a proper document with them. And your driver's license from Arkansas is not it, okay? Like, you've got to have your passport because that has the information that it proves that you have been approved to come into their country because it has been stamped by an official saying, yes, this person did not smuggle themselves in. We saw them and we approved them to come in. And that is what stands up for you if you're in a difficult situation. So you do not want to be caught without it. So that is something you should always have with you. And yes, it should be tucked away. It shouldn't be laying out on the table at the cafe while you're digging through your stuff. It should be put secretly somewhere. Okay. Just like you carry your ID here, we don't leave it out all the time, right? But you should not be so scared of losing it that you don't bring it with you. That's not safe or smart. And you could get in some very serious trouble with the police if there was any reason for them to talk to you and you don't have that document.
Don't put all your money in one place. Like, I'm even afraid I won't even leave it laying out in the hotel room. Like, I'll tuck it in a sock in my, bag or in the sole of my shoe, and some's here and some's there. And if my husband has our credit card that we're going to be using that day, then I'll have cash, or vice versa. Like, we both don't need to be carrying our bank cards. We both don't need to be carrying our same credit cards. Try to give yourself, and if you take, one of those cards out, make sure you put it somewhere that's not, laying out for somebody to see, in your hotel room. So now, if we take electronics, we also lock those up when we leave the hotel room. And I'm always crazy about cash because we don't generally have cash on us. So cash always makes me feel uneasy. You would not want to be pickpocketed and have every dime that you have for your, your trip in your bag.
Yeah. On that note, definitely if you have access to it, then take two different cards. Because if one could just not work. Your company could just be like, oh, we're panicking and thinking it's stolen, and just stop working. You need a backup. Okay. But the other thing is, if it does get taken or dropped or lost or something, then you want to back up. So, and that's a great reason to not have them in the same place. You know,
Mhm.
I heard about a couple and they were snorkeling, I think, and he had his credit card and the hotel key in this little pocket of his swimsuit, and it's at the bottom of the ocean somewhere. And they could get still into the hotel, but they didn't have a credit card then. That's crazy. Like, you should have had a backup in your hotel room. You know what I mean? You should have had another plan there. So don't be in that situation. And when it comes to money, this is another time where 2 minutes of Google research will go a long way, because in this modern day, most countries we're visiting, you do not need to take a lot of cash. You do not need to go down to the bank and pay a big fee and pull out a bunch of money and then carry it around everywhere. That is not how the modern world works in most countries. So do a little research and find out about the country you're going to. Can I use my credit card? Can I use my debit card? You know, do they require a lot of cash? A lot of places don't. And in Europe, they were the first to use the chips and all of this stuff, and like the what do you call that? The wireless tap. Like, they were way ahead of us actually about all that. And they don't want you pulling out a bunch of cash all the time. You know, they want you to use your card and move along and not hold up the line. And so, and that's true most places you're going to go nowadays. So there's no reason for you to be incurring huge fees, changing money, standing in lines in dangerous places where you're getting money out of an ATM in front of people, you know. So plan ahead and kind of do a little research and know having a debit card or a credit card with you and a backup in another space is the safest, best way to handle money when you're in a foreign country, usually in most places.
Do a quick contact to your bank and your cards too before you go. If you're going abroad, well, even if you're traveling within the country, my mom's had her debit card shut off because she was coming from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I live in North Carolina. So yeah, just whenever you're traveling, just let your bank and your cards know. Just a quick message, and they won't leave you stranded.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Even if you're going to have a large amount, like, you think my bank would know by now, like Disney's probably legit her. But now we have had, like, if we've had a large meal or something, we've had our cards to put a hold, and they will either wait to hear back from a text from us or something to release that to be able to use our card. So we've circumvented that with a Disney Visa, but, you know, FYI, it can happen in the United States too.
Oh yeah.
True.
Well, I think that is about all we have time for today. So I appreciate everybody kind of sharing their tips and tricks and experiences as far as health and safety when you're traveling. And I'm sure we could probably do another whole episode on this topic. I don't even think we covered everything, but hopefully our listeners got some good tips that can help them, you know, for when they travel. But mostly just do your research. Partner with a travel agent, and you know, just finding out a few basic things about where you're going can really help you if you get there and, you know, a medical emergency or, you know, something is stolen, kind of help you stay on top of things. So thank y'all for joining us today, and be sure to tune in next week for our next Travel Bug Girls podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Travel Bug Girls podcast. Be sure to subscribe to get our new episodes every week. We'd love to connect with you on social media. Share your answer to this week's podcast question with us at facebook.com/travelbuggirls. You can find us on your favorite social media by using @travelbuggirls. Want to join our VIP group? You'll find us on Facebook groups under TBG Travel Bugs. Learn more about the Travel Bug Girls and what we do on our website at travelbuggirls.com. Until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and safe travels. If you love to travel, you know the best experiences happen when you can truly connect with the people, the culture, and the language. That's where Speak Language Center comes in. Speak isn't just about memorizing a few phrases. It's about immersing yourself in the language and culture before you go. Their travel series courses are designed for curious travelers who want to feel confident ordering fresh pasta in Italy, chatting with winemakers in Argentina, navigating the markets of Lisbon, or lingering over pastries at a Parisian cafe. With live expert instructors, not AI, Speak helps you go beyond the basics, offering cultural insights, real-world conversation practice, and even travel-infused learning experiences. You can join a scheduled group class, or Speak can create a custom course just for you and your travel pals, tailored to your trip, time zone, and availability. Whether you're planning a dream trip to Tuscany, the vineyards of Mendoza, the French Riviera, or the streets of Porto, Speak helps you make the most of every moment. Check out their courses at speaklanguageacademy.com and start speaking your next destination. Use code TRAVEL10 for 10% off your first traveler's prep course. That's code TRAVEL10 for 10% off.